Hi, and welcome back to the Balance and Built podcast. My name is Morgan.
My name is Shay, and today we are going to be talking about, probably one of my favorite, but also one of the most dreadful topics that I actually hate talking about sometimes, and that is weight loss. Honestly, we've low-key been avoiding doing this episode.
Yeah.
We knew we were going to have to do it, but we've been kind of avoiding it because there is so much quick fix. People don't really understand the process, and it can be really challenging to hear things that you don't want to hear. But with that being said, I'm not going to leave any stone unturned in this episode. So we're going to be going through really the phases of weight loss, what that looks like, how to maintain your progress, how to grow on your progress, how to build on it, and really just going to be going through each and every phase. So I'm going to be referring to my phone a little bit just because I really want to make sure I hit on all the tips that I have. And yeah, I guess we'll just kind of get started.
Okay, let's dive in.
We're going to dive in. So I hate to break it to you guys, but there's three main things that I would say, and I'm sure there's ones that you have too. So feel free to share them. You are not ready to lose weight if you have been under eating for a long time. You are not ready to lose. Number two would be you're not ready to lose weight if you have no idea how much food you're currently eating. And number three would be you're not ready to lose and maintain your progress if you're not willing to make a lifestyle change. Those are really the three main areas. You can't cut calories and expect progress if you don't know where you're currently at. That goes to number one. If you've been under eating, you can't just keep eating less. We need to fuel our bodies. Same thing with number two. If you don't know how much you're eating, you don't know how to cut back. And with number three, how do you expect to, lose 10 pounds and then go back to your old lifestyle of eating McDonald's and doing whatever you want and not tracking anything or not being intuitive or anything like that, or not educating yourself on health and foods and how to fuel your body, if you aren't really willing to make some type of long-term, literal lifestyle change. It doesn't need to be completely unrooted. You don't need to be going from 0 to 1,000, but you need to educate yourself. So kind of starting.
Period.
So we're going to get started with some definitions because there's going to be things that I'm going to say throughout the episode, and I'm just going to define them right up front. So the first one's a calorie deficit. In order to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. What does that mean? In its most basic form, and there is much more in-depth definitions than this, you need to eat less food than what your body burns per day. That includes exercise and your resting metabolic rate. So those two numbers combined, you need to be eating less than what you are burning per day. Calorie deficit. Have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. I already said it, but I'm going to say it a million times. Maintenance calories. Basically what this means is your active resting rate, what your body naturally burns plus your exercise, you are eating as much as that per day. So when you are in a maintenance phase, your weight's really not moving much. It might fluctuate up and down a couple pounds, but you're not making big strides downward or upward. So that would be a maintenance phase. You're giving your body exactly what it needs to function, or pretty darn close to it, and you are staying in that range. Then a calorie surplus would mean you are eating more than what you are burning. So if you eat too much more than what you are naturally burning, that is when you're going to put on fat. Let's just be honest. You're going to put on fat if you're in a major calorie surplus for an extended period of time. Now, if you have some really, intense muscle building goals, being in a maintenance phase to a little bit of a surplus can be good to get some extra food, extra fuel. But again, if you are in too much of a surplus, or let's say you're in a surplus and you're eating a bunch of crap food, you are going to put on weight. So those are kind of the phases. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is metabolism. I feel like the word metabolism gets such a bad rap. But honestly, you guys, the metabolism, your metabolism is basically what it is it's the way that your body processes and distributes food and water to give your organs energy to function, whether it's your brain, your heart, your muscles, your bones, everything. So that's what your metabolism is. It's the process in which your body distributes energy across your whole body to function. So that was a lot.
Question.
Yes.
So when people say, oh, I just have a fast metabolism or I have a slow metabolism, is there any real accuracy to that? Okay.
So when someone says they have a slow metabolism, it's normally someone that's really overweight and they don't actually have a slow metabolism. They just think that they do. Or like a lot of women like that are older always say that because they're like, oh, I put on a lot of weight now and this and that because my metabolism's slow.
Yeah.
Your metabolism isn't like a speed. Like it's not like it's like running circles in your body, you know? It's just the way that your body disperses energy. So there's a really good bikini bodybuilding coach. His name's Adam Bonilla. He's with Team Elite Physique. He did a really good episode one time and he talked about it's not that your metabolism's slow, it's that you're doing a lot less now than you used to. So let's say when you were younger, you were in sports 4 or 5 days a week, you were going to school, you were playing with your friends, you're running around outside. So like your calories that you would burn per day were maybe like 5,000 calories. So to like keep up with that energy, you would need to eat 5,000 calories to not lose any weight.
Right.
Or, you know, or gain any weight.
Yeah.
So it's a lot higher of a threshold, right?
Yeah.
Versus when you're older, you're doing less. You're probably sitting 8 hours a day at your desk.
Yep.
You're probably maybe cleaning around your house or sitting on the couch at home. You're resting on the weekends. So like the amount of calories that you're burning per day are a lot lower, which means that you can reach that surplus quicker. Like when you're younger, like I said, maybe your maintenance calories are like 5,000, but when you get older, maybe they're like only 1,600. So anything you eat over 1,600 becomes a surplus, and that would make you gain weight because you'd be in a surplus. Now, with that being said, what happens now a lot of days is women undereat. So maybe they're only eating 1,200 calories a day. And so anything they eat over 1,200, they're going to lose weight. And then back to the metabolism portion is your body is very smart. If you're only giving it 1,200 calories a day, it knows to conserve energy and only give those 1,200 calories to the necessary functions in your body. So it's not going to give you the function that you need to lose weight. It's not going to give you function to flush water out. It's not going to give you function to have really good adrenal gland health or any of those types of things. So like there really is,
So that makes sense why when women undereat, they can lose their periods because it's technically not a essential process. Yeah, and your body's just trying to keep you alive. It doesn't care if you're bleeding or not.
It does not care. Your body your metabolism literally is going to prioritize automatically things in your body to function based on how much you're giving it. So
makes sense.
Yeah, so that's kind of like a little bit of a rundown there. But that was a good question.
Thanks.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good information out there about like how metabolisms work and stuff. So we could do like a whole episode on it. I probably wouldn't be the best person to actually do like a full deep dive into it, but there is people that I know that are really good. So maybe we can have them on to talk about it.
There's probably like an Andrew Huberman episode on
Oh my gosh,
I'm sure.
I love that guy. Yeah, he's super informational. But that's kind of just like a little bit dip on the toes in. All right. So now that we have defined those 4 things, we know what they are. Those are the definitions, ingrain them in your head. Don't think anything else. Like, literally, guys, just
please, for Shay's sake.
Please. Okay, so now let's get into, I'm going to break this down into steps. So let's start with step 1. Step 1 is you have a goal of losing weight. Okay, what is the first thing that you need to do? There's going to be a lot of different opinions out there. I'm going to give you what has worked for me, what has worked for the people that I work with, and kind of just what bodybuilding rule of thumb, lifestyle client rule of thumb kind of is. We need to know how much you are currently eating. Weight loss is all about data. Just like in a previous episode I had mentioned, like we know that 10 minus 2 equals 8, right? We know that. That's a fact. So when it comes to weight loss, it's just a numbers game. If we know your maintenance calories are 2,000, then if we want to go into a calorie deficit, we know we can subtract 200 calories and eat 1,800 and get results. But if we don't know how much you're eating, we don't know how much to subtract. So the number one thing that I think that you should do to take a step into losing weight is to do no different than what you're doing right now, but track your food for a couple days. There's really good apps out there. It's so easy now. Again, don't do anything more, don't do anything less. Just do exactly what you've been doing. Track your food for a couple days to see exactly where your food is at. So that was going to be like number 1, because then you know. Number 2 is going to be to use a BMR calculator. Again, I'm going to shout out Adam Bonilla again, and we should tag him in this episode. But he did a really good video on how to set up a diet, like probably 6 or 7 years ago. I'm going to put it in the description. And he talks about how to by hand calculate your BMR and like why it's so important. But now there's calculators and stuff that you can use, so you'd have to do it longhand. But basically what the BMR does is it'll tell you put in your information and it'll tell you based on your height, your weight, your activity level, things like that, what your maintenance calories are, like an estimation, then they're usually pretty on target as long as you put in accurate information. And like an example of like maybe what a cut and like a surplus would look like. So, but really for this purpose, we want to know the maintenance portion.
I did that because we linked it in the last episode, so I did it for me and then I did it for Jeff.
Yeah.
It was really interesting, but I was wondering, like, if someone has a lot of muscle, how does that play into it? Because obviously you're going to weigh more if you have a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
So would that tell you that you're like overweight because it's not, doesn't know your body composition?
So my BMR always tells me that I'm overweight. Always, every single time. Because I love it. When it says overweight, I'm like, I am making progress. But that's the thing. This episode is really going to be for people that are beginning into those phases. If you are someone that has that much muscle, you already know what your maintenance calories are. You already know what your surplus is. You already know what, you know what I'm saying? You didn't make that kind of progress because you had no idea what was going on. You know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah, I just was curious about that.
It is a little bit subjective, but for people who are just starting off or in the beginning phases or in the first year or two of like trying to becoming healthier and making a lifestyle change, that's a really good place to start.
Yeah.
And it's going to be pretty accurate for like 80 to 90% of people.
Yeah, it was accurate for us.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And it just gives you a start because a lot of people don't know where to start.
Right.
That is where you should start. So, number one, good question though. Number one, again, track your food to know exactly what you are eating. Number two is do that BMR calculation to see where your maintenance calories may be at. So, but moving on to the next point would be if you are under eating your maintenance calories. Now the goal is to get to those maintenance calories, okay? So let's say for this example, you tracked your food and you're eating around 1,200 calories a day, but your maintenance calories are 2,000. We need to close that gap. You don't want to go from eating 1,200 to 2,000 because again, your metabolism is not used to that, your body is not used to that, so we need to just slowly work that up. So you can go from eating 1,200 calories a day, being consistent, changing your food groups out, making sure you're prioritizing your proteins, carbs, and fats with the flexibility that you may need. And then once this is where you want to use your hunger cues. Once you start getting really hungry, eating those 1,200 calories, then you can say, all right, let's go up to 1,500. Now I'm going to eat 1,500 calories, and I'm going to eat that until I start getting hungrier and hungrier and hungrier, and then I'm going to go to 17. And then I'm going to go to 2,000. And then maybe now I get to 2,000, and now I'm like really satiated and I'm good. Now you're probably at your maintenance calories. Now at that point you might start feeling a little bit hungrier again once you get used to it because you're building more muscle and your body's now operating really well and on a good schedule. And then in that case, go up a little bit more. But that is what you can do if you are under eating your maintenance calories. If you are overeating your maintenance calories, one, determine how much. Are you overeating your maintenance calories by like maybe 1,000 to 2,000, but you're eating really clean whole foods and you feel really good about yourself and you're in a good spot? Then that's great. Maybe that's a little bit more on your maintenance calories, but you're way over on your maintenance calories and it's because you're eating ice cream, cake, cookies, and you're concerned about your weight, then we need to pull your calories down to your maintenance calories and try to get close to that. By slowly doing it, you don't need to like cut it like right away, but you can slowly chip back at that and just try to close that gap a little bit, not saying you have to be right on top of your maintenance, you can be a little bit in a surplus, but just be in a reasonable range. So that is that. So one thing that I do quickly want to address, and I know that you have got this question too before, I've gotten this question a lot, and I see this all over the internet, is girls are like, this is what I looked like when I was eating 1,200 calories. This is what I looked like eating 2,000 calories. And they look so much better when they're eating 2,000 calories.
Yeah,
have you seen videos
I've seen
like that?
I love those.
I do too. And the reason why it happens, you guys, is because your body, like we already talked about with your metabolism, your body is going to shut off certain functions when it's under eating to conserve energy so it can survive. So it's going to shut off functions like burning as many calories throughout the day. You're not going to burn as many calories. Your different systems are not going to work properly. And so when you start feeding your body, then your metabolism is going to turn on those systems. Your body is going to turn back on again and start functioning. You're going to start burning more calories a day and all that stuff. You're actually fueling your system to do what it needs to do. And that is going to make you kind of lose weight as you do it. So like my mom, for example, she was eating 1,100 calories and now she's eating 2,000 and she's lost like 7 to 9 pounds or something like that in the process of doing that.
Yeah, I've seen that too with my clients, like just again, always under eating. And then when we do increase their food, they're like, oh wow, I'm actually losing weight. And I'm like, awesome.
Yay, it makes sense. It makes sense. Also to you guys, another thing is when you are like thinking about foods, like protein is like the most like difficult thing for our bodies to break down. So like as you are eating protein and like whole carbs, like good carbs and fats, and your body's digesting these things, you're burning calories as you're digesting. So if you're eating like crap food and your body's digesting it like that, you're not burning a lot of calories while you're eating it.
That is a really good point. I think it was like, remember people would always say, oh, you burn more calories eating celery than
people
calories
used to say
in
that
celery.
all the time. Yes.
Yeah, that's so true though. Like fast food, processed foods, like.
Yeah, they're really just not good ingredients, so our body just wants to get rid of them very quickly, so they digest them super fast, versus like proteins, good carbs and fats, they're slower digesting, so we're burning calories for a longer period of time while our body's digesting
And I would also imagine it's because those foods are not stripped of nutrients, so it takes longer to break down those vitamins, minerals, etc.
Moving into step 2 is now we are in our maintenance calorie phase. How long should we stay in this phase for, or maybe we're in a little bit of a surplus? How long should we stay in this phase for? What should we be doing in this phase? Like, how long? Like, all the things. So you can stay in your maintenance phase for as long as you want. I was literally in a maintenance phase for like a year and a half. I know you like do like intuitive eating.
Yeah, I think I've been in a maintenance phase for like my whole adult life.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I do eat intuitively, and I always get confused by the question of like, how do you maintain? How do you keep the weight off? Because like you said earlier, it is a whole lifestyle change. So I naturally just get hungry in the morning. You know, I eat my breakfast and then I get hungry 3 to 4 hours later for lunch. Like I'm not binging anymore. I definitely went through a short period of that, but like now on the other side, my hunger cues are so loud that it's so much easier for me. And of course, on the weekends, I'm gonna eat out at restaurants and, you know, indulge, but it's like come Sunday or Monday, I'm like craving those healthy foods again because I want to get back to it, because that's what makes me feel my best. Like I feel like I've gotten so good at listening to my body that when I am eating maybe not the healthiest, I definitely feel it more than I used to.
So. Well, and just kind of building on that, it's like you guys have to understand that this is why it's hard to talk about weight loss, because weight loss is not just lose weight and then go back to my old lifestyle. That's why I said in the beginning, if you're not ready to make a lifestyle change, you're never going to lose it, maintain it, or build on it. And so for Morgan, like, you guys have to take the time to educate yourselves on how to build a plate. You have to take the time to educate yourselves on like what's healthy and what's not, what makes your body feel good, what doesn't make your body feel good. You have to do those things, because once you know those things and you really educate yourself, then you can maintain. You can go in a deficit, a calorie deficit, you can lose the weight, and then you can bring back up to those maintenance calories, listen to those hunger cues, and stay there for a little bit. But if you just lose 15 pounds and then your metabolism's way down, you're eating 1,200 calories a day, and then you just decide to go back to eating 3,000 calories a day, what do you think is going to happen?
Right.
Like, that does not make any sense. It literally does not. That would be like taking a glass of like 4 ounces of water and keeping it on your kitchen all week, right? That 4 ounces isn't going to change. It's going to be 4 ounces on Monday, it's going to be 4 ounces on Friday. But if you took that cup and you put it out in the pouring rain, what's going to happen? It's going to fill up.
Right.
And so it's the same thing with you guys and dieting. You got to keep the cup on the counter and control pouring the water in and pouring the water out. You can't just put it out in the rain and expect the same results.
Yeah.
So kind of rolling into step 2 here, weight loss, weight gain, building muscle, it's all about data. It's kind of about knowing the numbers, how to manipulate them, and it's really easy. So now that we're in this maintenance phase, again, we already covered, you can stay in this maintenance phase for as long or as little as you'd like. So many people see so much progress in your maintenance phase. You can put on a lot of good muscle in your maintenance phase. You can even lose weight, especially if you're coming down from a really big surplus in your maintenance phase. The maintenance phase is really a great place to be. And so while you're here, take advantage of it, get in a good routine, find a food schedule for yourself. Morgan just talked about listening to her hunger cues. I guarantee you, if I asked her right now the times of day that she eats, she'd be able to tell me, because not that she tries to eat on a schedule, but because you listen to your hunger cues.
Yeah.
Like, what are they? I guarantee you know.
Breakfast 8 a.m., lunch 1 p.m., dinner 6 p.m. Oh, snack in between around like 4, and then maybe a little bit of dessert around like 8 p.m.
Exactly. When you are feeding yourself and you're fueling your body and you're in those maintenance calories, build that food schedule. It's going to be hard, but it'll force you to make sure that you are eating, and it's going to get your body in a good schedule, like a good food schedule.
And not only the schedule, but like having your staple meals that you know you can rely on and go to is huge. So we can talk more about that later. But
yeah, I 100% agree, especially during the week when we're all super busy.
Yeah.
So the other thing that you are going to be wanting to do during this phase is really creating good habits for yourself, dropping those old habits, finding ways to communicate with the people around you that I'm making a little bit of a lifestyle change. Find exercise, figure out what type of exercises you like to do, don't like to do, get in a good routine at the gym, or maybe you're a Pilates girl or yoga or walking, hiking, whatever it might be, but establish yourself during this time some goals in terms of your exercise and really just continue to track and know where you are at with your food and listening to those hunger cues. Now, while you're in that maintenance phase, you might find yourself getting hungrier again because maybe you're putting on muscle, and the more muscle you have, the more calories you're gonna burn because it takes your body a lot of energy to keep muscle on and retain it. So if you're building a lot of muscle during that maintenance phase, you might find yourself getting hungrier. Just increase the calories. It's not a big deal. You're probably still gonna be in a maintenance because your body's burning more because you have more muscle on you. So that is kind of what we're gonna be doing in that maintenance phase. And you can stay, like I already said, you can stay in this phase for a while, but like for today's example, like let's just say you stay in this maintenance phase really solid for like 3 to 4 months. So now, like after that, you can finally say, okay, I have given my body this baseline. I've been in these maintenance calories for 3 to 4 months. I know I'm eating 2,000 calories a day. I know I'm exercising 4 days a week. I know that how to, manipulate having flexibility into my schedule, and I'm really good at doing what I'm doing right now. Now we have the data. Now we know that 10 minus 2 equals 8. So we know that you're eating 2,000 calories, and now you want to go into a cut phase, okay? I want to say this right now. I want to say it a million times. You don't go into a calorie deficit, aka cut phase, and then just stay there. You also don't go into a cut phase or a calorie deficit for 6 months, okay? That's too long. Pick a goal for yourself. Don't just start a calorie deficit with no goal. Go into a calorie deficit saying, I have a goal of losing 15 pounds during this calorie deficit. A good kind of rule of thumb-ish, and this is going to be like, okay, I'm gonna say like about a pound a week is really good. If you could do a pound a week. Now at first when you start dieting, you're gonna see a lot bigger chunks, or like if you are someone that is unhealthy or overweight, you're going to see much larger chunks week over week because number one, you have more to lose, you have more water on you, things like that. So you're gonna see those bigger chunks in the beginning, and or if you are more overweight. But like generally if you took an average of like how much you lost like over a 15-week period, if you could do like a pound to a pound and a half a week, that would be really great. So like let's say we're gonna do a 15-week cut and we're gonna try to shoot for losing a pound a week. Now, calorie deficit, going back to our definition, we know we're eating 2,000 calories for this example. We need to eat less than what we are losing. So we're gonna go down to, let's say, 1,700 calories. We're not gonna do an aggressive drop because the only way to keep making progress is to keep going down. Mm-hmm. So if you start at 2,000 and you just go to 1,200, what's your next drop going to look like? What are you going to eat, 800 calories? Right. You can't do that, okay?
That's like a child.
Exactly. You literally, I think my 2-year-old niece eats over 800 calories a day. So you want to do this slowly. Start at 2,000. Try your first cut at 1,700. There's 2 things that can help you lose weight: reducing food and increasing activity. So you're going to stay at that 1,700 calorie mark until you stop making progress. Don't, like, for example, my sister, she just started a fat loss phase. She just went to a calorie deficit. And the first week, she lost 3 pounds. Then she's like, oh, what are we changing? Nothing. You made progress. We're not changing a darn thing because right now, you have that stimulus. Your body's doing what it's actually supposed to do. Now, next week, if you come back and you've lost 0 weight, then we'll make a change. But there's no need to make a change if you're seeing changes. Take your progress photos. Weigh in once a week, use the weight scale once a week if it doesn't drive you crazy. If it drives you crazy, just do progress photos. Progress photos are super, super positive. I actually prefer them over using a weight scale, but whatever.
The scale can lie.
Yeah, the scale can lie. The scale can be really tough and it can move, especially for women with our hormone episode. You will know that your weight can fluctuate and things like that. Mm-hmm. So that is what you're going to do. You can drop it down to 1,700 and you're going to stay there until you stop making progress. Let's say after 3 to 4 weeks, you get on the scale, it's not moving at all, and it hasn't moved in like a week. Again, what can we do? We can either drop food or we can increase activity. So in this example, let's just go at dropping food. So then we're gonna drop food again. Let's say we go to 1,500. And let's say we increase activity a little bit. Let's say we go from doing cardio 4 days a week for 20 minutes to now 5 days a week for 20 minutes. Okay, so we're increasing activity, which means we're burning more calories throughout the day and throughout the week, and we're reducing food to continue that deficit. So then you're gonna do that. Then you're gonna start seeing that progress kick up again. So now maybe we go another 4 weeks and you start seeing that plateau again. When you start hitting that plateau again, you have 2 options. drop the food a little bit more or increase the calories, or you can do them both. So then you can make that decision. Now, once you hit that 1,300 calorie mark, I don't really even like putting numbers on food just because everybody is so different. Like, I know people that, like, literally 1,300, they'd be on the floor dead. Like, they eat 5,000 calories a day, and, like, a low food for them would be, like, 1,400, or not 1,400, sorry, like 4,100 calories. But that's not most people.
Yeah.
That's probably, like, the 3% of the people in the world. So let's say we do one more drop and we go to 1,300 calories and we increase the cardio or your activity or yoga, whatever you're doing, a little bit more. And you start losing weight, and then you hit another phase where you stop and you plateau. This is when you have to control yourself and you have to stop with the calorie deficit. Now, going into the last step, which is going to be what to do to get out of the calorie deficit in a healthy way and get back to that maintenance phase. And when you go from a deficit to a maintenance phase, and you do it, like Morgan was saying, intuitively with healthy food items, whole foods, and not just going crazy, but obviously building in your flexibility, you will, if you lost 15 pounds, you might gain 3 to 5 of it back, maybe, but you're gonna look a heck of a lot different because you've probably built muscle and you've built all these other things. So what you do, and there's so many different ways to do this, so I honestly don't even really want to comment on like how to do it, but like what I would recommend is like 2 main ways. But you just work your calories up slowly in a way. Okay, so like let's say you're eating 1,300 calories, bring yourself right back up to 1,500 or 1,600 and just prioritize the right foods. And do that, you're going to be full for a little bit. Once your body adjusts and you start getting hungry again, just like we did at step 1 when we were trying to find our maintenance calories, now we're trying to build them back up. So up the food a little bit, up the protein. Protein is the least thing to subsidize as fat. So if you increase your protein, you're going to see good results that way. Again, good, clean carbs. Increase that food, let it sit, let your body adjust, and you can take down your cardio a little bit, or maybe keep cardio the same for the first month or so, and then let your body adjust. And then you can bump it up once you start getting hungry again, bump it up to 1,600, 1,700, 1,800. Sit there, let it adjust, let your body get hungry again, and then bump it back up. And it'll be a little bit of a slow process, but if you do it and you do it the right way, you're not gonna put out a bunch of excess weight gain, and then you're gonna be back in that maintenance phase quicker than you know it by, basically maintaining your physique at that point. And so I kind of mentioned what Adam Bonilla said, but what he does with his competitor athletes, which is pretty interesting, is he basically raises their food through protein first because it's the least thing to subsidize as fat. So he'll go from like 1,200 calories to like 1,800 calories, for example, and he'll just do it through protein.
Wow.
So that way, like, they can get food in them very quickly, but it's the least thing to metabolize as fat. And then, like, as the weeks go on, lowers the protein, increases the carbs, lowers the protein, but more increases the carbs and fats until everything's back up and being level at that maintenance phase.
That's cool.
So you can do it that way. That's one way. That would be like a very bodybuilder way to do it. Or like what I do with my coach, which is what I really like, is like during my whole prep, we had high, medium, and low days. And again, this part's a little bit more advanced, not really so health and wellness. This would be more bodybuilding. But like what I do with my coaches, we had high, medium, and low days with my food throughout my whole prep. And so as we got closer to prep, we would like reduce the high days or take out the number of high and medium days for food that we had. So then now on the reverse side, my body's kind of used to those medium days already because I was doing them. So we just went from our low days to adding in all the medium days back. So it wasn't a huge adjustment. And now we just kind of each week make small tweaks and bring it up and bring it up and bring it up. And I really enjoy doing that because, again, it wasn't these tiny little increments where I was like starving.
Yeah.
It was like we made these really good sizable jumps. My body was somewhat used to them. So yeah. But for you guys and for anybody listening, obviously please like do your own research, listen to these people that I'm talking about. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of how you do it. And so then once you get back to that maintenance phase, then you can chill, hang out in that maintenance phase. Maybe you want to go into a little bit of a surplus because you have really aggressive muscle gaining goals or whatever it might be, but you're not going to gain all that weight back. You've made the lifestyle change. You've done the right things. You have the exercise in your life. You're educated now on food. And now you have the data and you have the ability to kind of lose weight whenever you want because you can control those things because you know exactly what's kind of going into your body. So that was kind of really long, in depth. I hope that made sense. I feel like it's all in my head and sometimes I have a hard time communicating all of it.
No, I thought you communicated it perfectly.
But yeah, and you don't need to track the food the rest of your life. Like once you become educated, like Morgan, like once you become educated on it, you know what you can eat, what you can eat. You will listen to your hunger cues, but the number one thing, you guys, is you really just have to stop thinking that weight loss is like this.
Yeah.
It's not a quick fix. It's a lifestyle change. If you want to change your body, you have to change the way that you live. Your body is a reflection of your habits, and your mind is a reflection of your habits as well. So if you're not willing to make those changes, then don't even bother trying to lose weight. Like, honestly, I've never seen somebody go into a fat loss phase that didn't go into it thinking they're doing a lifestyle change. If they went into it just thinking it was a fat loss phase, I've never seen them have success.
Me neither.
Ever. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I co-sign everything you just said.
Co-sign, sign, seal, deliver, man.
For real.
And too, you guys, like, so I've shouted out my coach a couple times during this episode. So my bodybuilding coach, his name's Alex Toplin. He's literally absolutely amazing. Alex, shout out to you. Literally, so shout out. He is the owner of Team Reform, and they also do lifestyle coaching for people. You do lifestyle coaching for people. There's so many coaches out there. Like, please reach out to Morgan. She's so great at what she does. You can reach out to my team. Like I said, Team Reform. I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, I know some of them, but I'm not going to shout them all out here. But having a coach is a really good way to do it as well, because then you can actually get that guidance, and they can do that math and give you that guidance.
Yeah, not only that, but like making it a slow, sustainable thing. Like, that's the number one benefit of a health coach, is that I can help you implement things slowly at a sustainable rate instead of just completely changing your entire routine, because then you're not going to stick to that.
Yep.
And that's not how healthy habits are built.
Exactly.
So.
One thing that I really like to say about why I think hiring a coach is literally the best thing in the world to do is, let's say someone watching this right now, let's say you are, I don't know, give me a job. Let's say you're a cosmetologist, okay? You are really good at knowing what colors to mix together to make certain hair products, right? To make certain color hair. You are really good at knowing how to lift hair from black to blonde. You are really good at knowing how to cut layers and do things like that, right? You're really good at that. That said, somebody at home could color their own hair. They could cut their own hair, but it's never as good because they're not an expert in that area. So if you hire a coach like Morgan, if you hire a lifestyle coach or reach out to Team Reform or whatever it might be, but if you hire Morgan, she's the expert in what she's doing. So she has that knowledge that you don't have to get the results. Just like you're a cosmetologist, you know exactly, you probably cringe when you see people dye their hair with box dye. It can be done, but it just might not be the best way to do it. And so lean on people that are experts in the fields. And like, I feel like weight loss is such a touchy subject because everybody wants to think that they know everything and There's so many different ways to do it. There's not a one size fits all. And a coach with expertise can teach you those things. You have to let your guards down. You have to stop being so uptight about weight loss and talking about it and like all these things. You have to let it go and lean on people that actually know what they're talking about and have experience, and stop just trying to say, well, I did that for a week and it didn't work. Like, I'm sure it didn't. A week didn't do anything. So that was kind of like a little bit of a rant, but like, that is why I really strongly believe like that was a big rundown. And like, again, you can cycle through these phases. Once you have the data, once you make the lifestyle change, you can cycle through these phases. But give Morgan a call. Give a lifestyle coach a call. I'm plugging you hard right now. I don't even care. But like, no, I do care. I didn't mean it. I didn't care about you. I'm saying I don't care that I'm plugging everybody because it's like, you really, how much of your health, like, okay, a coach is going to cost you monthly, but like, what are you spending on alcohol?
Right.
Like, I have friends
spending on fast food.
Yeah, I have friends that like, they're like, oh, how do you go on vacations and how do you do bodybuilding and all this stuff? And I'm like, you spent $100 at the bar every single weekend this month. Look at your budget, you guys. That's $400 a month. A health coach is going to cost you $175 to like $500 a month if you wanted to compete. $500 a month, right? But like, or maybe less, whatever, somewhere in that range. That would be a very, very, very high level coach, by the way. So maybe don't go that high, but not even. Actually, most coaches do not charge it. Most competition prep coaches are between $300 and $400, but like anywhere from $150 to $400 a month. You're probably spending that in Starbucks, fast food, and alcohol every single month. Yeah. So really, you can afford it. Right. So stop making excuses.
Yeah, it's just what you prioritize, really.
Yeah,
so.
But again, it's a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
If you're willing to make that lifestyle change, that means you're willing to not go to Starbucks 5 days a week.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying it's bad. If you don't want to make the lifestyle change, then don't. But like, also, you could still go to Starbucks and make the adjustments, whatever elsewhere. But again, like, you get my point. Like,
it's
if you're willing to make a lifestyle change, you're probably going to stop going to the bar every single Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because you're going to be going to the gym or finding healthier habits for yourself.
Right.
If you are going to be spending money on a coach, you probably are going to be less likely to stop and get McDonald's and do all those things because you're making that lifestyle change. So it's going to free up other costs because you're actually making a change to hire a coach.
And not only free up the cost, but seeing a health coach, like seeing me every other week, is going to hold you way more accountable than if you're just doing this on your own, because you know
and you're paying for it.
Yeah, A, you're paying for it, and B, I'm going to be checking in with you, like, did you do your workouts this week? Did you cook? Did you meal prep? Like, making sure that I'm holding you to it. And I feel like people stick to it way more because they know someone's watching over them.
They know someone's watching, and your coaches know when you're lying.
Yeah, that's true.
If you just show up 1 week 5 pounds heavier with no explanation at all, you just like 1 week you were this and the next week you're 5 pounds heavier. Yeah, it's probably not body fat, it's all water weight, but your coach is gonna know, like, okay, what did you freaking slam on this entire week? Holy smokes, like, unless it was intentional, obviously. But, like, you are gonna be less likely to lie to someone, especially if you are paying for their services and their expertise. So
yeah, for sure.
All right, you guys, that was a lot. I'm very sorry I threw up a lot of information.
It was good.
I hope it was somewhat organized and in an understanding way. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will keep blabbing about this forever, and this is probably one of our longer episodes already, so I'm just going to shut up. So I'm just going to turn it over to you for the closer so I don't go on to any more rants.
Well, yeah, I thought it was great. I learned a lot, very informative. And one other thing I did just want to mention, we got a question about healthy meal ideas.
Oh, yeah.
But you guys, it's really not about me sitting here telling you different recipes. It's more so about learning how to build your plate and learning what Shay was saying and having the education behind it. If you really do want a resource, we just put up a really good Instagram post about grocery list, and we separated out by protein, fats, and carbs. All you need to do is go to that and pick and choose and build your meals. If you really want some inspiration, you can check out my Instagram. Shay has been posting a lot of recipes on her Instagram as well. Like, use that for inspiration, but it's really more about learning how to build the plate yourself and going from there. So yeah.
And one more thing to add on that too, you guys, if you just know what a protein is, what a carb is, and what a fat is, if you just know what those things are, it helps you build the plate. Like, so many people think, like, I don't know. Like, I would go back to the peanut butter situation. Like, people think peanut butter is a protein. It's not. So, like, just know what those are. Like, carbs, like, carbs are going to be your potatoes, your sweet potatoes, your French fries, your rice, black beans, like, things like that. Those are going to be your carbs. So, like, get a list of carb sources. Put a carb in your meal.
Yeah.
Your proteins are going to be a lot of things that are come from animals, but you can also find some more plant-based proteins that, like, edamame has carbs and protein in it, like, things like that. Like, but, like, know what your proteins are. So just, like, do some research on, like, what are proteins. So give me a list of proteins. Give me a list of carbs. You kind of have an idea. So then you can say, like, all right, I'm going to sit down and build my plate. I'm going to pick my protein, and I'm going to have that, and I'm going to pick a good carb. I'm going to have that. I'm going to have some vegetables, and maybe have some, I don't know, some type of fat on there. Add some avocado, or you have some really good idea for fats. I don't have as many good ideas as you do.
Olive oil, nuts, nut butters, tallow. Speaking of tallow, we need a plug.
Yes.
But yeah, check out our post because we listed out all of these, and it's really helpful.
Yeah. Make sure you follow us on Instagram because we are going to be posting, like, even more, like, informational stuff that's, like, our episode related, obviously, but other things too. So to finally wrap this up, because we could go on forever, is Morgan's new beef tallow business. So I'm going to let her talk about that, and then we'll close out.
So I know I talked about this on the last 2 episodes. So just to briefly touch, I just came out with Sacred Skin Tallow. Only ingredients are grass-fed beef tallow and cold-pressed jojoba oil. Perfect for someone trying to live a more non-toxic lifestyle, stay away from synthetics, fragrances, that kind of thing. So we'll leave the link to shop below, and you can also follow Sacred Skin Tallow on Instagram for more information about it. But I think that's everything.
Yes. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, leave us a review, and rate us 5 stars if you can. Share this episode with somebody that you know might want to go through a lifestyle change. That is what we are calling it, not a fat loss phase.
Love that.
So, yes. All right. Have a great day, you guys. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.